Translation: In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devrishi Narad, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected exposition of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action. Purport: The great Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead, propagates devotional service all over the world. All great devotees of the Lord, all over the universe, in different planets and species, are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of his disciples. Narad is the author of Narad Panchatra, which is the exposition of Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. This Narad Panchatra trains the karmis, or the fruitive workers, to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive work. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruitive work because they want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all species of life. The fruitive worker includes all kinds of economic development plans, but the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the work is bound up by such reactions, good or bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Sri Narada informs these fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the diseased man of the world how one's present engagement can lead to the path of spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his suffering from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives same solution of serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor that will lead one to path of Nashkarma or liberation. Hare Krishna. This verse is speaking about Srila Narad Muni, which is an empowered incarnation of the Lord, which is Satyavesh Avatar. And in Gita, Lord Krishna says, among demigods, among sages among demigods, I am Narada. Devrishanam cha Narada. So, Narad Muni is an empowered incarnation. So, when Lord empowers some living entity to do some particular ability, it's known as indirect empowerment. So similarly, this Parshuram was the empowered incarnation, and also 4 Kumaras, and then Prithu Maharaj also, he was an empowered incarnation. Similarly, Devrishi Narad is also an empowered incarnation. The particular ability which Lord has invested in Narad Muni is the ability to propagate the devotional service. And in ISKCON especially, Prabhupada explained Narad Muni as the spaceman, the transcendental spaceman. He can travel throughout the worlds without restriction, because he is free from modes and he propagates the glories of Lord everywhere. We see like Narad Muni is especially comes into pastimes of Krishna, like in Krishna Leela, he in the beginning when Krishna had not appeared. So Narad Muni, being a great devotee of the Lord, he wanted to advance. He wanted to accelerate further the descent of the Lord. So when Kamsa was informed that one of the eighth child of the Devaki is going to be is going to kill him. Then Narad Muni came and told Vyasadeva that actually any of the child could be your enemy. So Kamsa, he killed all of those children. So we see like Kamsa, he was not inclined to murder the children, but Narad Muni, it may appear he instigated the Kamsa to do such an action. But actually, if we see all of those children, it was a plan of the Lord. They were later revived, and in this way, Narad Muni, he accelerated the descent of Lord Krishna. And similarly, if we see due to Narad Muni's instruction only, Srila Vyasadeva composed Bhagavatam. And we see further in Krishna's pastimes, when Rukmini was about to get married, Narad Muni, he informs Rukmini about Krishna's qualities, forms and pastimes. And then Rukmini decides that it is Krishna whom she is going to marry. She is not going to marry Shishupal. So there was great, you can say, havoc, because things were going one way. Then Narad Muni informed about Krishna, and then things went completely different way. But ultimately, it's for devotional service. So that's why Narad Muni, this meddling, led to such an important pastime of like Krishna kidnapping Rukmini and subduing subduing Shishupala. So, and here from Prabhupada, like Prabhupada is writing like all the great devotees of the Lord in all over different universes, they are disciples of Narada. So, and Prabhupada also writes like Narada is a father of devotional service. So his disciples mainly include like Vyasadeva, Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prachinvari, and sons of Daksh Prajapati, thousands of sons of Daksh Prajapati. Practically he is preaching to everyone. And Vyasadeva is also his disciple. He composed Bhagavatam on his instruction. He was dissatisfied with whatever work he has produced. He produced all Vedic literature. But since he had not dealt with the glories of the Lord directly, then Narad Muni sort of chastised him to write about Krishna directly. Then Bhagavatam came. It's mentioned in Bhagavatam, Jugup Sitam. Jugup means very abominable. Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva, you wrote all the Vedic literature, but you didn't tell directly about the glories of the Lord. This is very abominable, so you should do it. And only after it, Vyasadeva, he started writing Srimad Bhagavatam, which is commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And Narada is the author of Narad Panchatra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, which is exposition of Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. So Narad Panchatrika, it's a system for devotional service. In ISKCON we follow Narad Panchatra, especially for the deity worship and setting the standard for Diksha. So everything is taken from Narad Panchatra. So it's given by Srila Narad Muni as well. And this Narad Panchatra trains karmis or the fruitive workers to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive work. So similarly, like in Bhagavad Gita, we saw surrendering results to Krishna or doing work for Krishna, we get liberation. It's a Mai Sarvani Karmani, Mai Sannyasa Adhyatma Chetsara, Nirashi Nirmamo Bhutva, Vigata Yuddhasva Vigata Chura. Krishna says to surrender everything to him, all the Mai Sarvani Karmani, and without any proprietorship. Like this, if we do, then we become free from work. And continuing further in Prabhupada, the conditioned souls, they are mostly attracted by fruitive work because they want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brows. The sweat of on brows means by manual hard labor. So material life, it's called pavarga. Pavarga means like describes 5 states of suffering. Pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. So pa stands for parishrama. Parishrama means hard labor. In this material world, if we want to do anything, then we have to put some effort. So without putting some effort, we cannot do anything. And materialists, they put lot of effort to maintain themselves. And if we put a lot of effort in one thing, we see animals sometimes like horses, the foam comes out of their mouth. So it's indicative of very hard labor. So pha means pena, or English forms. So after working hard, foam comes out from the mouth by such heavy labor. And then pa, pha, and ba, vyarth. That means even after working so hard, then it's disappointment. It's not satisfying. So even though we work hard, then it leads to disappointment and fear, bhai. We see in the material world, even though we are trying our best to live a peaceful life without anxiety, but ultimately no one is free from fear, because no one is in full control of the situation. Jiva, he is under the control of Maya, so no one knows what will happen in the future. So there is always anxiety about maintaining the status quo or getting a better material situation. So in this way, and at last there is mrityu, death, which no one can conquer. So these are 5 states of suffering characterized by 5 states of suffering known as pavarga, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. And when someone attempts to nullify these 5 states of life, pavarga, then it is known as liberation, apavarga. So apavarga means to just nullify this pavarga baseness. So in the whole universe is full of fruitive workers of all species of life. The fruitive worker includes all kind of economic development plans. So we see we have the people in general, they have huge huge plans, but for what exactly? Prabhupada writes like if a man is married, he is inclined to work. Even when someone goes for work, they whether see whether the person is married or not, because a married person has an impetus to work. And why does he work? He works for the family. But we see if a man is not married, he is not inclined so much, because he would think about like why I am working so hard. And so much of hard labor is not required to just to maintain. Even though he might be working, he would think about like what I am getting really. Just for paying the bills I am working. Like this, he would have always this nature of questioning, like why I'm working. But those who are completely into this happiness based on sense gratification, they won't get such inquiries, because their only happiness is sense gratification, and the top on sense gratification is the sex life. So it's described in Shastras like the happiness of grey metis is sex life. Grimedi sukham, yan mathunadi, grimedi sukham hitucham. So for that only they are making so many plans, but ultimately, as we see, it results in defeat only. And but the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction. The performer of the work is bound up by such reactions, good or bad. And the reaction of the good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are ultimately for distress only. So when one works, it produces result, good or bad. Good work is it gives good result. Good result means good birth, good opulence. In Bhagavatam, this verse comes, Jan Ashwarya Shruta Shrivir. Jan means you'll get a good birth. Ashwarya means very opulent birth. You get born in an aristocratic family where you don't need to work so much for the maintenance. Everything is all the resources are there in plenty. And Shruta means education. Everyone is when you take birth in some highly educated family, so naturally you also get high education. You get access to the opportunities. So it's a materially comfortable life. And Shrivir, you get beautiful looks, and all this is due to good karma. So, but this good karma also is sort of an impediment to devotional service, because one who is materially satisfied, he can take the name of Lord, but with feeling he cannot take, because a helpless person is able to take the name of the Lord feelingly, but one who is materially satisfied, he will not be able to take with such feeling. And we see Prabhupada is writing, even though good reaction or bad reaction, all are meant for ultimate distress only, because the four defects of material world, Jan, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, these are present. Even though we may have good birth, good education, good looks, good opulence, we won't be able to counteract these problems. If we see everyone is aiming to everyone is aiming towards scrubbing down these basic defects. We don't want disease, so that's why we open hospital, we do researches, we make vaccines, we make medicines, but ultimately the disease cannot be stopped. And even though by research we might make so many medicines, but ultimately, if you see, no one can conquer death. No one has conquered, but we think maybe in the future will conquer. So, but it's not going to happen, because that's a fact of material world. And here Prabhupada writes, foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in unconditional stage. Materialists, their main happiness is especially in mode of passion and mode of goodness, as described in Bhagavad Gita, because no one is living a life in mode of goodness. And mode of passion, it's described in Gita, the happiness is like, in the beginning there is it tastes like nectar, but in the end it's poison. It says in Gita, Vishayendriya samyogad yattat agrate amrit upamam pariname vishme evatat tat sukham rajasam smritam. So the happiness which in the beginning feels like nectar, but at the end it's like poison, that is happiness in the mode of passion. So if you see in the purport writes how this happiness, it in the beginning, it's like he gives an example, like a boy and girl, they meet. In the beginning there is a lot of expectation and anxiety to meet whenever they can, but so much of euphoric feeling is there, but at the end it may end up in divorce, separation, so it results in poison. So that kind of happiness is temporary and it doesn't satisfy us fully. So how do we get to the platform of reality of happiness? Because reality of happiness is beyond the platform of happiness, beyond the platform of temporariness. In Gita it's described in chapter 9, like the happiness we get from devotional service, it's avayam, it's eternal. Susukam kartam avayam. It's never ending. So that is the actual platform of happiness. Everyone wants the happiness which doesn't stop, which continues. So that happiness is not available in the material plane, because in material plane we are constrained by karma, which constrains opportunity. But as we surrender to Krishna, we get free from karma and we get happiness which is on the spiritual platform. So, and we often see the quote of this Yamunajacharya, Guru of Ramanujacharya. He was a great king, but he was, for teaching us, he was, in the beginning he was a king. King means he had all facilities, he was leading a sensuous life. But at the end, when he became self-realized, he became Krishna conscious, he says whenever the thought of sex life comes, he spit at it. It's like, it's very disgusting. But when someone is in mode of passion or ignorance, they would like this thing. So unless we are elevated to a higher stage, we will not be able to relish the higher taste, and these mode of happiness in mode of passion and ignorance, they will always look exciting to us. And here, continuing the further in purport, and he gives the direction of the diseased men of the world, how one's present engagement can lead one to the path of spiritual emancipation. So we see, like, in this material world, we are bound due to law of karma. Whether good or bad, if we create karma, then we have to enjoy it. For enjoy, we have to take birth in this material world, and taking birth means meeting the four basic defects of this world: janam, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. So this is all due to karma. But by karma, we can overcome these things. Prabhupada is writing how one's present engagement can lead to spiritual emancipation. But this karma which binds us, it is for us. But if we work for Krishna, that becomes a karma. Means you are working, but still the result is not there, because we are working for authority. So example is given: if a soldier in a battlefield, if he kills an enemy, then the authorities, they reward him medal. But on soldier, on his own account, he kills some civilian or kills without authority, he is punished, or he is given some death sentence, because he is working on his own account. So in spiritual, if someone is working on the account of Krishna, then he doesn't get the reaction, because it's on Krishna. Krishna is saying and we are doing it. So that's why the reaction doesn't come. So we are working, the work doesn't stop, but working for Krishna, it burns up the reaction. Similarly, we see in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun, he was not inclined to fight, but for Krishna, he fought to the best of his ability. It's not like Arjun, if he was fighting, so he got reaction. No, he didn't get reaction because he's doing it for Krishna. And if someone is doing it for Krishna, then the law of karma, it doesn't act, and we get further advancement on the path of liberation. So, Hare Krishna. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.